Welcome down to what is episode 5 of the Cutting Matters podcast. We're filming this well in advance, so we haven't actually got to episode 5 yet, but for what you're going to be seeing, this is episode 5. I'm Alistair, and with my colleague Ellen,
Nice to see everyone again.
and we're quite excited today because we've got our first guest, haven't
We
we?
have, yeah.
Yeah.
Which means we're a bit closer today.
Yeah, so
Quite snug.
yeah, we're sat in interview spaces,
Yeah,
which is
interview mode.
different to what you're normally used to. But today we are joined by, well, long-time affiliate of the company.
Not too long. Don't put
Well,
too many
yeah,
years
sorry.
on me.
We're joined by our resident digital media presenter, Hayley West, today.
Welcome.
I'm excited. That kind of guest / guinea pig, I believe.
Yes, guest / guinea pig. That's right. So Hayley's worked with the company for, well, how many years, Hayley? You've longer than I've been at the company.
It's got to have been, it's got to be 18, maybe 19 years that I've been involved. But I was involved as a crafter before professionally. So, yeah.
So you started, well, there's been a bit of a break, hasn't there? It's not been 18 consecutive years.
Oh, no. But I've been using the machines consecutively throughout.
So what machine did you first start out with then?
Graphtec.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, proper Flintstone stuff.
Wow. So the Craft Robo, that's what the portrait turned into, wasn't it?
Yeah. And I have to say, portrait is like way better than the Craft Robo.
Oh, really?
It was, yeah. But it's the software as much as anything, because I mean the machines are brilliant, but it's the software I love.
Yeah. So the Craft Robo outdates me and you.
Yeah.
Working for
I
Graphtec.
was like, whoa.
Yeah.
That makes me in years or in time with company.
Well,
because you've just made me feel very old in one
no, not in
sentence.
years. Definitely not in years. No, not in years.
Come back.
First guest, and I offend our first guest. Excellent. That's just what I wanted.
Brilliant.
No, but the crowd. So when I started, we were launching the portrait 2.
Oh,
I think.
right, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I actually launched the first portrait on a shopping channel for a company and Cameo as well, first Cameo machine. But I go back further than that because I had my own business, little craft shop, and I used to do the exhibitions like at the NEC. And the first time I actually came across Graphtec stand or the booth that I was in was directly opposite Graphtec one.
So who did you first meet?
So it was Phil.
First met Phil.
So Phil, yeah, and they used to have a setup where you'd almost got like an audience with rows of chairs, and then there was the software on a screen at the end. So yeah,
oh wow, okay.
Many years ago. They had hair back then.
I'm not asking. I'm not even falling into that trap. I'm asking how long ago that was.
Your first show, then, what did you have on there?
Well, I used to be very much involved with kind of like the physical dyes.
Yeah.
A company called Quick Cuts. I used to bring their stuff in from America. But of course, the downside of that is you buy a dye and it's just that size and that's it.
Yeah.
But of course, not so with digital dye cutting.
No, definitely not. Infinite amount of different cuts.
Yeah.
So today, it's obviously I've worked alongside you now for. We kind of re-established a relationship, didn't we? And that was pretty much due to COVID.
Yes.
Again.
Yeah.
Just through obviously Hayley. Obviously, you'll know Hayley from working Hachanda, now creating craft.
That's true.
And there were stipulations put in place during COVID where we needed to use presenters that were in-house.
Yes.
And obviously Hayley, in our working relationship, knew the machines. So it was a case of we had to go back to using some. I said, well, if Hayley's there and we have to just use presenters that are contracted with Hachanda and things, that's where the relationship kind of picked back up.
Yeah.
But before we get to that point,
okay, where's this going?
Dun, dun, dun.
where did explain to if someone's just meeting us, seeing this, where did your kind of craft journey begin?
Well, I mean, it was way back with the Craft Robo, and I have to say, I didn't get on with it brilliantly at all. And it was just a case of that it kind of evolved from there. The software, obviously, that makes the big difference. So that made it much more user-friendly. So it kind of got that passion going again. But obviously going down the route with the portraits and the cameos. So yeah, and that was on the original Create and Craft that I kind of got involved with those demonstrating many, many years ago.
Yeah.
And I kind of went off and did different things. And then, like you say, kind of regrouped, all came back together again. And yeah.
Would it be fair to say that you're better known in embroidery circles and craft
Well, I'm a
circles
bit
initially?
of a techie crafter.
Okay.
So I love technology with regards to crafting because obviously you get that with machines, but I do a lot with embroidery machines and the software that comes from that. I like crafting, but I don't necessarily like things that are just off the shelf.
Right.
And I think a lot of crafters are like that. They'll get an idea, they'll get an inspiration, and they'll potentially work with that. But at some point, they want to adapt it themselves and make it their own.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that you've got, obviously, with the software and the range, you can do that. And it turns a thought into a thing. If that's the thing.
Yeah.
You were on about having a T-shirt done with, was it test before you invest? I think I'm going to have that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I
Turns
used that before.
yeah, it turns a thought into a thing.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, we may end up with some Cutting Matters t-shirts soon.
Watch this
Yeah.
space.
I'm thinking about that. Alan's already started about getting our merch sorted
Bit
out.
merch.
Yeah,
Got to get a bit of merch out there.
we've got some cups on the way, haven't we?
We have, yeah.
I'm looking
Perfect.
forward to getting some cups.
Are you?
Yeah.
Little
We do
things,
the
isn't
TV drinking thing.
Yeah.
it? Sponsored by.
You're finding. I think you're finding that at the moment, aren't you? You've been going out to some like craft groups, haven't you?
Yeah.
And it's the machine, but they're using it to then maybe it's sparking some ideas to create other things, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of understanding what they're doing and then approaching them with a product idea which could benefit them.
Yeah.
And then once you show that idea, you can see all the light bulbs going, and there's loads of different
It's
ideas
like a
and routes they
chain
can go down.
reaction,
Yeah. So that's been quite good, seeing
And
other
it's
people's
funny because
thoughts.
sometimes people say, well, why do I need a machine? And it's difficult to say this is why you need it, because what I tend to find, and a lot of the time when I'm making and doing things, it's kind of, I think of the thing that I want to do, and I think, oh, I could do that on the Cameo, or I could do that on the portrait, or I could do that on the 3D printer, and I go off and do it. I don't necessarily think, oh, well, I'm buying that because I want to do these things.
Yeah, multiple uses.
It's, yeah. And it's difficult to kind of say, oh, you buy it because you're into card making, or you buy it because you're into your sewing and you want to cut your applique. You can do that, but you can do so much more than that. And it's one of the wisest investments ever, I think, because although it's an initial, it can seem quite a daunting amount that you're investing in something. The usability is incredible.
Yeah, endless.
How much do you use the machines alongside your kind of embroidery stuff, like with the sewing machines? And
well, the program that I used to design a lot of my stuff on the sewing machine, you can actually save as a cut file. So I can then transfer that over to my machine. It's like applique. I mean, you can do it within the software anyway. You can cut out like your letters or take your different designs and cut them out. But the company that I have my sewing machine with, their software will actually do the stitch line as well as create a cutting line.
okay.
So then take that design, I cut it out on my Cameo or my portrait, or it's usually Cameo because of being fabric. And then I can load it onto the fabric, onto the sewing machine, and the stitch file is there ready for me to actually stitch out. So, and of course, you've got the import thing that you can do with the software anyway, to do with embroidery.
Which silhouette? Obviously, you're kind of affiliate. We've just taken on Brother, obviously, and
Yes.
we've sent you a scan and cut machine out, which you've been playing with over the last couple of months. But your long-term relationship with Graphtec has been, first off, as you say, with the craft robos, and moving into silhouette products.
Yeah.
So which machine would you say out of all the machines that you've used silhouette wise has had the best bit, like technological jump, I'm guessing, saying that's helped you in
That's
comparing?
a hard one.
Comparing
Because I mean, I'm fortunate because I've got multiple machines,
Yeah,
and that, I mean, it sounds like a real get out of the question, but it is literally depends on what you're wanting to do, especially with the scan and cut.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the silhouette is brilliant because of the power. I use that a lot with things like the fabric and the rotary blade. Brilliant. I've not had a go on the scan and cut with fabric yet, so I can't kind of say on that one. But the kind of the printing feature, that the print and cut that you can do on your Cameo, or the trace and cut, should I say? It's the trace and cut more than the print and cut. There's a lot of work you have to do to get to the point that you're cutting it out. And it's brilliant when it does it. Well, it always does it, but it's one of those, it's a long-winded way of getting to the result.
Yeah.
But what I have found is that is so much quicker doing it on the scan and cut.
On the brother machine, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if it was something that I was doing and I wanted to do a trace and cut, I'd probably use my scan and cut more so now than I would have done before. I mean, you can do it on both and you can do it brilliantly on both machines, but I would tend to now go to my scan and cut for that.
Okay. You found that when you've been using it?
Yeah, I have.
It's
For console
so
cutting,
clever.
definitely the brother machine. Just
Yeah.
because you do like there's no software, so there's no faffing around,
Exactly,
with
just
registration
finds
marks
it.
and things.
Mhm.
So it is straight into the machine and
Yeah.
out the other end and then cut.
Exactly, yeah.
As simple as that.
And the thing is with your trace and cut, if you've got, say, if you're a crafter watching this and you might have had a download that you've printed off PDF that's got, I don't know, almost like a card kit on an A4 sheet. So you might have your topper, you might have your decoupage. If you're not into crafting, you're probably wondering what on earth is this woman talking about. But if you're a crafter, you'll know. And if you're doing it on your the trace and cut, and you've just got a one-off sheet that you've bought from a craft shop, you've got a lot of effort to just cut out that one sheet. And if you're fine-tuning it and tweaking it, it can take a long time to do it. If it's something that you can print off again over and over again, then okay. But if you've just got a one-off sheet, it's so much quicker to just do it with the scan and cut.
Okay.
So, yeah. I've had quite a few people that have asked me about which would you go for, and it's never easy to say.
It's just dropping.
Am I being too quiet?
No,
As I say, that's a first.
No, I can just see it just slowly just dropping down.
Rather me sliding into the chair. But no, it's a really difficult one to say.
Yeah.
And also, if you don't particularly want to use the benefits of the software, then the scan and cut, I think, is really good. I've been very impressed with it, I have to say.
That's good.
Because
Yeah.
I've never really looked at one prior to obviously you guys getting involved.
We definitely see two markets for like it was quite initially when you think, oh, we're going to be doing two craft digital cutting machines. It's just
yeah, how can you sell one against the other one?
Yeah,
But
and
really
for some reason, some people tend to think, it's almost like a competitive nature against the two, but it's not. There's a lot of grey area between the two that overlaps.
I guess obviously the biggest point with the brother machines is the fact that you don't need a computer.
Exactly, yeah.
And some people don't like.
Very true.
How, obviously, with your experience with the nature of work that you do with the TV presenting and things like that, would you say there's still some, not resistance in the market to going to digital if people are very much devout handcraft? When I'm talking about they want to use scissors or they're very much, when they think about die cutting, they think about using a hand die.
Yes, yeah.
Would you say people are becoming more open to moving to digital craft, or would you say that if someone is going to be using a hand wound cutting machine, it's pretty hard to convert somebody over?
I don't know. I think people kind of have preconceived ideas sometimes, and they might like their physical dies. And don't get me wrong, I've got physical die cutting machine, I've got physical dies. But the problem with that is you can be paying quite a lot of money for one size of a particular shape.
Yeah.
So say it's a sentiment to go on a card or something. You might want to do a big card, but the sentiment that you've got is only tiny and it's going to get lost. But obviously you can cut out things like your sentiments on your die cutting machine at all sorts of different sizes. So if you're buying one die for, say, I don't know, $24.99 and you've got one size, with the actual software, you've got, like you say, anything from something that'll fit on your little fingernail right the way through to something that could be cut from the roll. So it's that vast range. And I think sometimes that's a little bit scary for people to think about, and they think it's going to be complicated, but it's baby steps. Don't go too far. Somebody was looking at a sewing machine. I would say, well, don't make the first project a wedding dress.
Yeah.
Because you're going to fall at the first hurdle.
Yeah.
So just start with pre-designs from the library and get used to your machine, and then suddenly think, well, actually, I could tweak that to make it like this, and just build it up gradually. I mean, with all the fabulous YouTubes and things like that.
Yeah, well, YouTube and content we're going to come to soon because we've worked on some new videos, haven't we?
We have, yeah.
Hopefully by the time this is being aired or someone's listening, they will be uploaded to our YouTube account because they're pretty much ready to go. But do you see, when you're, obviously, we've just said you've been going to craft groups and things like that recently, have you noticed if anybody's looked at the digital cutters and a bit like rabbit in the headlights kind of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Because they don't know what the machine is about. It's quite daunting. It just looks like a bit of plastic on the side, and it's just like, oh, I don't know what this is, and I'm not used to it, so I don't want to introduce that because I'm so used to having being set in my own little ways.
Yeah.
But then once you open the machine up and you say, look, you can carry on doing your handcraft, but have this as an extra to save your time
Yeah.
on doing this, that, and the other, and you can cut more pieces out to stick to like cards and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So it's actually showing them the product finished. Then that kind of encourages them to go, actually, it does more than what I thought it was, or
Yes.
it doesn't look what I thought it might be.
Yeah.
But
And also, it's kind of the different things that you can cut from it, because a lot of people will have this idea that it's just for if you're wanting to make cards, and they might think, well, I don't want to cut out paper, I want to cut out fabric.
yeah.
And it's realizing that actually you can do that. I had a lady, she actually bought a Cameo 4 because she was making a quilt. She was a very accomplished sewer. And she wanted to do the pieces for the quilt, and they weren't a standard shape. They were an irregular pentagon, and she needed something like 460 of these that she was going to have to cut by hand to make quite a unique quilt. Well, I wouldn't have even bothered picking up my rotary cutter for that, because
No.
it's like, no. And that's the reason that she actually started looking at the rotary blades on the machines and thinking, well, if this is going to save me time. And obviously she was able to cut
Is that the
down
rotary cutter for
on
the
the Cameo
the Cameo
4?
4? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one thing. That's one tool I've not used yet. So that's what I was going to
Oh,
ask you
it's good
questions
fun.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah. What sort of projects have you made with the rotary?
I use it a lot for applique, and applique was something that, because I thought, well, sometimes when you're doing like letters, you've kind of got quite sharp turns. So I'm a little bit naughty actually, because whenever I get anything, I try and push it to the limit.
Yeah.
And that's what I did the first time I did, and I was like, oh God, I can't break this. I can't make it not work. It's doing everything. It's very frustrating. But no, and you've also got the little overcut box that you can tick in the software. So it's very clever on actually getting those precise cuts in place. So I look like, wax on, wax on.
Going Hayley Miyagi.
Suddenly turned into something totally different.
No, it's good because there's so much that the machines will do, so much scope for them.
Yeah.
But like we know what the machines are capable of and we use them, but it's use them in so much different ways that so like it blows our minds. We had somebody in a couple of weeks ago and they were talking about hacks that they were using their brother machine for to do. What was it? It was like special calligraphy things, and it was just like how do you compute in your mind that you could use the machine to do that type of thing?
Yeah.
There's so much more to the machines than I think. They're
So
obviously
open your mind up to it, haven't you? I
yeah,
suppose,
like they always get pigeonholed as it's a craft machine. So
Mm.
when people you talk about craft, people think, oh, I've got to be a crafter to use it, and then they go, oh, I'm not interested. But no, you don't. They are a craft machine. That's their native category. But you can open them up for so more. Like there's a project that we've kind of got going on at the minute where trying to open these machines up to a lot younger demographic, and the Portrait 3 being quite an economically priced machine, really. If you want to kind of start up your own business, or even not your own business, but you want to create things for your friends, like you're 16, 17, 18, you're in coming school or college, and you want to make your own t-shirts and stuff like that, then you might not necessarily think you're a crafter, but it is a craft machine that you need to cut your HTV to put onto your t-shirts. But then you're kind of making your own brand. You're also using that tool as a fashion tool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a certain program that I don't know whether you'll know, Alistair, but I'm sure you will, where they take a group of couples off to an island, and they all had water bottles with their names on it.
Yeah.
Everybody is making and
Favourite
doing
show.
this.
Well,
Exactly,
Lucy,
yeah.
who's sat over there, actually made some of her own.
Well, this is it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is the thing. It's you'll just see different situations. You think, oh, I can do that, and quite often you'll be thinking, I can do it, and I can do it better than that. And we were at a festival at the weekend, and there's so many different T-shirts with slogans on and things like that. Yeah, personalisation and
It's big. It's
Yeah, you
huge.
go to a festival and you make your own logo and you can spot your mates in the crowd or whatever like that, or like leavers t-shirts for leaving school, but
Yeah,
your own
tote bags,
everything.
everything.
tenders,
Yeah.
you see them all the time, and it's so affordable to do
Yeah, yeah, and it's
and easy.
you make your
Easy.
It
Easier
is,
than what
yeah,
you would have thought.
exactly,
Yeah.
yeah.
you make your own t-shirt, then all of a sudden you can make your own Instagram account, and then it could just start like
Grow
there's
from
so
there.
many different kind of avenues where these machines can be used to start out small businesses.
hmm
Like in the podcast that was now a couple of weeks back, where I took out the snippet as talking how to upscale, level up your business, like
Yeah.
let's say business, your craft to a commercial entity and make it your day job. Well, it's small steps, isn't it?
Oh yeah, and the thing is with fonts, because you can obviously the script or the style of the font. There's so many different fonts that are out there that you can quite easily say, well, you tell me what you want, and I can make it happen because
Yeah.
you can.
Yeah. So moving back towards Hayley West,
Okay.
how did you get into the TV presenting kind of situation where you're at now?
Okay. Well, again, that started a long time ago, and I was at a trade show actually, and I came across some foiled papers that I just fell in love with, and it's actually a company that did it's to do with bookbinding, I think, to be honest. And there was it's like this foil embossed paper. It was gorgeous, and I wanted to buy some for my craft shop, and they said, "Well, we don't actually have a UK distributor." So I thought, "Oh, well, that's ridiculous. Why have you not got a UK distributor?" And they said, "Well, would you be interested?" So I bought literally a pallet load of all of this.
A palette.
A
Wow.
pallet load, yeah. I was a bit naive at the time, and I didn't realise how much that is. It's a lot on a pallet because I forgot that they go upwards pallets
Yeah,
do
Yeah.
as well, don't they? As
you're
a,
building to airspace.
exactly, yeah. So I'd got all of this paper, and it's like, oh my goodness, where am I going to sell all of this? I've only got a little craft shop. So we were at the NEC again doing one of the shows, and we were just round the corner from the original Crate and Craft stand, and I went round there and chatted to one of the buyers and said, look, we've got these. Is it something that you think that you'd be interested in? And they said, yeah. So they took it on as one of their what do they call it now? It was like well, now it's called a one-day special, pick of the day, I think it was. And they ran it on there, and it did really well. And then I started getting into different areas of crafting. I used to do a lot of design and put it onto CDs that people could then print off their stuff.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah.
And then it's kind of twisted and turned. And obviously, when you kind of take a product to Create and Craft or any TV shopping channel, they will ask for somebody to demonstrate it, and that's where I got involved with that. And then it got to the point where other companies were asking me to demonstrate for them, because obviously I kind of passed the screen test and there's somebody already there, so it's easy. And I ended up, and I probably had a portfolio of about 15 different companies that I used to work with at one point.
We were one of those.
You were one of
Yeah,
those,
at the
yeah?
start. Yeah.
In fact, you were the only company that I stuck with after I was headhunted to go and work for a different company.
Well, you know,
So I was allowed one company.
And
So
you
yeah,
chose
and I chose
us.
Graphtec.
brilliant.
Wow. It's good to
So, yeah.
hear all this because
Have you never had this
I've never
conversation?
known anything like this. Like, background.
Yeah. So that would be great to get Hayley on. So,
So
so
interesting.
been a long-term relationship with the company. Hayley's seen you've seen how the products have developed
Mm.
since they when it first went into Graphtec started doing craft cutters into going through to where we're at now with the
Yeah.
latest silhouette
And
machines.
it's nice because I've seen a lot of crafters on their journeys going through as well, kind
Yeah,
of
I
those
can
tentative
imagine.
first steps to having their own little businesses that they run, providing personalisation in all sorts of different areas.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Well, in terms of development of different things, Hayley's kindly put what is it, 10,
there's
10,
10 at the
10
moment,
video?
but to be honest, gosh, you could go on forever because
Yeah.
there's so much that you
Well,
can
we'll call
do.
this season 1.
Okay. We're not quite at a box set
Not
yet.
quite. We'll put it out to Netflix and see what happens. Well, you never know.
You
Right.
should pitch it, you never know.
Well, Ryan Reynolds has decided to invest in Wrexham, so
Well, there you
yeah,
go.
you never know what happens. But we are about to upload. Well, so by the time you're watching, listening to this, they will be on our YouTube channel, so you'll be able to find them at graphtechgb.co.uk. No, sorry, graphtechgb on YouTube, not .co.uk. On our YouTube channel there. Yeah, this is our second podcast today. And on there there'll be a playlist for our new silhouette tutorial lessons, which Well, they're micro videos, aren't they?
Well,
Really?
the videos that I've done, because I know from personal experience, if you're looking for things on YouTube, there's loads of stuff out there, but it doesn't necessarily cover everything that you want. And you can end up spending 10 minutes just listening to somebody doing an introduction before you actually find out that you're watching something that isn't actually going to answer the question that you had in the first place.
Yeah.
We've all been
So,
there. Yeah.
and you're like, you go down like a YouTube, well, any channel.
YouTube black hole.
It's like,
Yeah.
you go down a rabbit hole and you're gone for weeks.
Yeah.
So what I've tried to do is I've tried to take the main areas that, as I see it, because I've done loads of different kind of classes and worked with people on training with the software, and I've kind of put them under different headings. So there's like, number one, good place to start is an introduction to the software, and literally skim over the whole software. Well, I say the whole software. It is literally a skim of the surface, because I mean the depths that you can go to with the software is incredible, and it's kind of giving you a little bit of an insight in, if you just want to know that amount of information and go off and do your own kind of clicking and playing around, then that's fine, go for it. But then there's different areas. So we've got an area to do with the fill layers, and there's a lot of people that don't realize that you can actually use the software almost like a graphics program,
Yeah.
and actually create things that you can then go on and print off. You don't have to cut them out. You can just literally print them off. And it's the fact that the fill layer isn't just about filling it with a colour. There are patterns that are available there, and the patterns can be resized and all sorts. And this is kind of like little areas. It's like you've opened a secret door in the software.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my goodness, they've
What
found
is
something
this?
else.
Yeah.
And those are like little snippets, and I think that most of them are no more than 10 minutes long, if that.
Yeah.
And then the plan, if it works out that way, is that we have more in-depth
Yeah.
kind of
So
tutorials in that particular area to give you a lot more information if you need it.
was it? I'm just trying to think. Time flies. October 2020, we started our.
Goodness, I don't know what I did last week.
No,
Don't ask me
I'm
going
just
back
trying to
that
get my
far.
head around the times. I think it was October 2020 we launched our first
It was
online
actually,
classes. So
yeah.
we're going up to 2 years ago now. Now, initially the first classes were like a live class, weren't they, with
They were.
yourself?
Mm.
We've adapted them slightly, but dropping this fall, we're going for full American. We're dropping this autumn. We've got new classes coming,
Yes.
but these won't be live as such. But you'll be able to. Hayley's put them together.
Mm-hmm.
Is there 3 classes?
At the moment, there's 3. Yeah.
Yeah, 3 classes, and you'll be able to buy those on the Craft Store Direct website,
Mm-hmm.
and basically you'll get a code to allow you to access basically a locked page
I'm
on the
nodding.
website.
This is nothing. I've no idea how any of this happens, but
But
yeah.
it's happening.
Yeah, you'll get a code, and you'll be able to unlock the class on the website, and that class is one that Hayley's put together, and it's the classes that we were doing a couple of years ago, but
Yes.
they've been tweaked to be a little bit more towards what the customers at the time were asking for, weren't they?
Yeah. The thing, I mean, it's kind of swings and roundabouts. The interactive classes were brilliant, but it meant that we couldn't have any more than a certain number of people,
Yeah.
because if everybody asks a question, so we had about 10 people maximum, I think, wasn't it? So if one person asks a question, 9 people are sitting waiting for an answer and watching you do something that they might not necessarily have needed to ask
Yeah.
the question.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like twiddling your thumbs while you're waiting for somebody else.
Yeah.
So that was part of the reason for us to do them more of a pre-record. You can fit a lot more in, because obviously, again, if somebody asks you a question, if you've got 10 people ask you something that takes 5 minutes to explain, then all of a sudden 50 minutes have gone, and that's most of your class. So that can slow things down. So we should be able to get a lot more into the classes when we do them pre-recorded. But of course, you can pause them, and it's going to be a situation that you can kind of work alongside them.
So you've got your new cabin set up now.
Yes, yeah.
So what
love
you're
it.
using? It's like a craft. It's a craft cabin. You've got your craft camper van. You've got your craft cabin now.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah.
Got the right
Taken over.
setup now.
And it started off with a set of drawers. This is what happens. It's a slippery slope.
Yeah. So you're using your craft cabin now for, if you're watching or listening to this and you follow us on Facebook. So check out, if you're not, Craft Store Direct Facebook page. Well, it's usually around, maybe not land directly, but usually around the first Monday of the month, we have Make It Monthly, which Hayley presents for us. And yeah, I'll let Hayley introduce it, but yeah, Hayley goes live every Monday for us. Well, no, every first Monday of the month. and it's like a news article, but then you have projects as well, don't you, that you work through?
Yeah, it gives us an opportunity to kind of touch base with you and let you know of any changes that have gone on. Things like the introduction of the scan and cut, kind of spoke about that. But then there can be projects. So as we come to things like Christmas, there'll be a Christmas project, and I'll go through that. And there's quite often a free download that you can actually print off the design that I'm working with. So
Yeah, and those
and it's
downloads.
very much interactive. It's if you let us know what you need explaining, then yeah. I know somebody's asked about trace and cut and kind of fine tuning all the different sliders, which can be a bit of a
We put those downloads available to download free of charge on a page on the Craft Store site as well.
That's good.
as I say,
That's
they're
well done.
always there.
So you can work along basically live with what Hayley's doing on the Make It Monthly as you're doing it, because I put that link live in the event quite a few days before, so you can actually download that, can't you, to get it all set up.
I need to get into the habit of doing that because I kind of remember, I haven't put it on social media and it's an hour to go and it doesn't give people a lot of notice. So make sure you subscribe and Alistair will let you know before I do.
Yeah, Lucy sends an email out beforehand, so everyone is aware that we've got a Facebook Live going out that day. But yeah, I think, how long have we been going now, Lucy? 40 minutes.
40 minutes. Oh,
Wow.
my goodness.
Flies, doesn't it?
I said a little chat.
I know. Because it meant to be 20 minutes. But no, thank you for joining us, Hayley.
Right.
Yeah,
That's been great.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, but thank you. So what are the plans? Who else are you going to get in? What sort of ideas have you got?
Well, we've been talking to resellers, haven't we?
Yeah, hopefully get some resellers in as well. So we'll talk more about the industry in different markets. And then some end user stories as well. Get
Yeah,
some
nice
actual people that crafters or people that, have got a signage shop and using our machines. So hopefully we'll have like a range of lots of different guests.
It's like me turning the tables now, me interviewing.
Yeah.
So have your resellers kind of got almost like shop fronts that people can go in and see the machines being
Some
used?
of them do, yeah. Some of them do have like a showroom environment like this with lots of different machines that they sell, and Graphtec's are in there as well. So it's walking in and just seeing
It's always
everything.
a good idea, isn't it, to go and see them?
I think so, yeah, definitely. So yeah, that's the plan.
And I love seeing what people have made. So looking forward to seeing that. The end users and
Well,
ideas.
that's the other. We're hoping to get end users on here as well, so we can chat to them about why they opted for the machines that they bought from us, and how their business started to a point where why they opted to buy their Graphtec, and then how it's expanded. And or say Graphtec could be one of the lasers or any of the craft cutters.
Yeah.
But any of the products that they bought from us, to see how they've got to that stage where they want to buy it, and then how they've expanded afterwards.
Yeah,
and I must admit, I love the blog section on the website as well because there's so many amazing projects on there.
On the craft store, I've lost count of how many there are.
There's loads. I didn't realise
there's
how
a
much
few
was
hundred on there
there
now.
Yeah,
a few hundred. Yeah. So that if you go onto the craft store direct, you want to have a look at our blog. There is a button on the top banner which is blog, and you click into that. I say there's hundreds.
There's loads, all kind of different times of year, seasonal. There's a nice one on planets as well.
There's even a blog on you.
Is there?
Yeah.
God, I don't think I've seen that one.
Well, when we introduced you as our digital media presenter,
really?
there's a blog on there for that. Yeah.
Oh, there you are.
What colour hair did I have at that stage? Because I've gone through quite a few.
I want to say blonde.
Oh, it might have been at that stage.
I want to say
Yeah.
blonde. Yeah. I think so. But yeah, so I'm pretty much drawing a close. So if you're following on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button and the bell. So next time video goes live, you get actually alerted to it. Give us drop us a comment. Let us know what you think. Be great if you hit the like button. If you're listening on Spotify, great if you gave us a rating. That would be fantastic. But from today, I want to say thank you to myself. Thank you to Ellen.
Thank you, Hayley.
No problem. I had a whale of a time. If you get the invitation, take them up on it.
Yeah, thanks for coming in, Hayley. It's been great to speak to you.
No problem.
Thank you. We'll see you again soon.